Hey folks, it's Coach Sebastian again. I hope everyone is doing well. Great to see you again. This time last year I outlined 5 lessons that I taught Sam through tennis growing up that I thought could apply to your team as you embarked on a big year. As usual, Sam didn't listen to a damn word I said, and you guys wound up having a bad year. I had to bail him out of a jam throughout the year and help him get through it. But that's what dad and coaches are for, I guess. So I thought it might be helpful if I shared with you the 5 comeback lessons I worked on with your boss throughout the year. Maybe he'll listen to his daddy for a change, and you guys will continue some of the recent momentum it sounds like you are starting to build. Number 1, 0-0. Sam, you always got out of the gate very quickly in your matches. But then when you're up 4-1, 5-2, or 5-0, you get complacent. You get too loose and too cocky. Remember what we used to do to guard against that? When you were up big, we'd have you always say that the score was 0-0, so that you stayed in the moment and remained focused. Before every serve, you would say 0-0. Late last year, when you were coming off that big election success, I bet you lost your edge. You were looking ahead. You weren't in the moment. You got cocky. It's at those times when you are ahead that you have to be as hungry and as focused as at any other time, because you can lose your momentum in a second. 0-0. Stay focused. Keep your edge. Don't get complacent. 0-0. Number 2, learn from your losses. They are more valuable than your wins. Losses can be a gift, but only if you understand why you fell short and you develop a game plan to come back stronger next time. After every big loss in your career, after I got done screaming with you on the ride home, we'd sit down and break down the loss and develop the game plan to come back stronger. With losses, you learn so much, but you have to look at it that way. And if you do, they become very valuable in your journey. I remember pushing you this year to develop a plan to attack for your comeback. If you didn't show your team how you learned from your loss and how you had a game plan to come back stronger, then your major learning lesson would be wasted. Everyone will lose, but the winners are those that use those losses, learn from them, and then quickly game plan how they will come back and grow from it. Number 3, get a weapon. Remember that summer when you were 13 and you had a very tough year? Many of your peers were getting bigger, and you were still scrawny and hadn't caught up to their growth spurts yet, and they passed you by. You didn't have that big weapon in your game that could keep you in the match. You needed a big weapon, a bigger serve, a great net game, something you could always rely on. That winter, we spent 3 hours a day developing your big forehand, and the following year you had your best year in the juniors, and for the rest of your career, you could rely on your big forehand to get you through big jams. You had a weapon. I remember suggesting something similar to you on the phone this year for your business. What was your weapon? An upgraded team? A new play you would run with your customers? A new product you would lead with? Whatever it was going to be, you needed to find it and expose it. And that new team or new product could get you out of jams for a long time. You needed to get a new weapon. Number 4, move on. Remember your first year at Ohio State? You'd always take losing so hard. And I remember after your first big loss, you were sulking around in the locker room. Coach Daly took you aside and said you needed to lose and move on. In college tennis, you play 40-plus matches a year, and you had to quickly forget about that one and move on to the next one, and not take the loss so much to heart. It couldn't live with you. You had to be resilient, move on, and live to fight another day. And the same went for this year at Google. I was sick of hearing you moan about your year on the phone, and I remember telling you, snap out of it, move on. Lose, learn, and move on. Convert that negative energy to positive and move on. Number 5, set the tone. The week before the state tournament, your senior year at high school, remember that? Remember that practice we had? The team was so tight, nervous, and anxious. They needed a pressure release. I told you as captain to set a loose tone for the entire day, and the team fed off your energy. You screwed around the entire day, taking batting practice with tennis balls, smiling and joking with the guys, and showing them your supreme confidence that we were ready as a team. They needed that. They needed to see from their leader that they were ready. We were loose and we were confident. You had to set the tone for the situation as the leader. The same goes for you now with your team. Each situation will require a slightly different attitude and tone. But make no mistake, the team will follow you if, in fact, you prepare them properly. In the worst of times or the biggest pressure situations, you need to portray confidence, remain upbeat, and smile for your team. Know the situation and set the tone. Okay, folks, there you have it. Some of my comeback lessons for Sam this year. I hope this is helpful. Son, do me a favor and try to listen to your daddy for once. I just heard about Google's third quarter earnings. Somebody at Google is doing something right. Next time, make sure it's your team. Hang tough. I love you, and we are always in your corner. Go Bucks. Go Google.